All right, you guys. Well, today I have for you this 2022 Ford Explorer XLT. Pretty nice looking SUV. I think it has like a good style to it. Although I do kind of like the previous generation, like just a little bit better. But I think this is like still a nice evolution of that regardless. Very familiar styling with the Explorer. It looks a lot like the last generation in a lot of ways, just like modernized. But I'll hop in here, I'll show you guys some of the features. So we'll start up, kind of an interesting location for the start button right here. But it starts up pretty quickly. The interior is decent. I will say it's like a bit more utilitarian than I thought it would be. It's not like luxurious in here per se. It is like modern, it's decent, but it's not anything I'd call super luxurious or super upmarket looking. But it gets the job done, honestly. This infotainment screen, I find that it has like kind of the bare essentials, not much else. You just get your audio here where you can choose between your different sources. Phone information like contacts, messages, that sort of thing. Typical settings that you'd find in like any other modern car. This screen like responds decently, it looks decent. Not super impressive to me, but gets the job done. I'll put it in reverse. And there's your backup camera. It's pretty good, like average. I don't think it's gonna bother anybody. Drive, neutral, reverse, park, and you also get a low gear button right here. Over here, you do have your volume and tune. You do your climate controls down here, you know, your temperature, fan speed, typical stuff. You also get heated seats in here, 3 level. And you do get a little compartment down here. Get a USB, a USB-C, and a regular car charger right there. 2 cup holders. You also get your electronic e-brake right here. This is for the brake hold system where you take your foot off the brake but it keeps the car stopped for you. You also have your auto start stop off button right here. This interesting looking wheel icon is your traction control off, and this is your hill descent control. You also get your drive mode selector right here, so you have like a fairly decent number of drive modes to choose from. So you have normal, you have eco, you have sport, you have tow haul, you also have slippery, trail, and deep snow and sand. So quite a big variety here. I'll just leave it in normal mode for right now. Maybe we'll try sport mode later on. You get like fixed gauges right here, but you get a screen in the middle, but it doesn't really give you a whole lot of information. Right now it just shows my average fuel economy, 22.4. You also get like your music display, your tire pressure, various driving data. Not much to really go over here. This is your cruise control, your volume control, your phone control for Bluetooth right here. Over here you do get your power trunk release, you got your headlight switches, and your gauge cluster dimmer switch. And if we look in the center console, it's actually pretty big, and you get another car charger outlet right in there. And the glove box is a decent size, not too bad at all. But we'll shut the car off. I'll show you guys under the hood and go over the engine really quick. So you pull this hood latch twice. And yeah, no hood latch on here. Kind of interesting. That's like what BMW does. You wouldn't expect to see that in like a Ford Explorer. But here's the engine for it. This is the 2.3 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. Makes 300 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. And it's paired to Ford's 10-speed automatic. Only a 4-cylinder engine. You can kind of see there's like a lot of room in there for like a bigger engine. But this 4-cylinder is actually pretty decent. I'll show you guys more of that when we get this thing out on the road. But we'll close up the hood here. And I'll show you guys the back seat room really quick. All right. And as you would expect, it's, you know, pretty spacious back here. Plenty of room, can't complain at all. You do get your own personal climate control back here. And you also get a another USB and USB-C, and you get a car charger outlet. Would have expected to see like a household outlet back here because some other cars offer that, but not a big deal. You get cup holders, which is nice. This car actually has a third row, so we'll go back there and check that out after we look at the cargo area. Check out the cargo room here. So as you can see, third row is down and a decent level of space back here. Not too bad, you know, average for an SUV in this class. But we'll fold these seats up here. They fold up pretty easy. You just use these straps. But I'll close the tailgate here. Closes pretty quick actually, as you can see. But we'll try out this third row really quick. All right, I can already tell this is gonna be a challenge getting back here, but I'll do my best. All right. Ugh. Yeah, not the most comfortable place to be. I mean, it feels like you're sitting on a park bench. The seat is really low on the floor right here, and my legs are kind of up in the air, and just not a ton of room. A bit claustrophobic back here, but most SUVs in this class are the same way. This isn't like a unique problem, but gives you an idea of what it's like back here. But we'll hop back in, we will start it up, and we'll get this thing out on the road, see how it drives. All right, just gonna put it in drive here. We will set off. Pretty good turning radius. And like a lot of SUVs I drive, it feels very competent over this like gravel-y kind of road right here. All right, so a few things to note about this Explorer. One thing I noticed that's actually kind of a good point is the accelerator is nice and responsive. Really just, you know, just tap on it a little bit and this car gets moving. Wasn't really expecting that. It's actually quite a sporty feeling throttle response in this Ford Explorer. The brakes are pretty good too. Very good bite, like right at the beginning of the pedal. There is like kind of like a, you know, a hint of vagueness in the pedal, like when you first apply the brakes. But they kick in pretty sharp actually, like kind of, I might even say like a little bit too sharp sometimes. Because it's definitely one of those cars that kind of like, you know, like stops pretty short when you apply the brakes. So, you know, some people might like that, some people might not like that. All comes down to personal preference really. But one of the weird things about this SUV that I wasn't totally sold on when I drove it was the transmission. I find this transmission is actually kind of clunky a little bit. It's like, it shifts weird. I don't really know a better way to describe it. Like, it just feels a little bit lurchy. It's not the smoothest acceleration, I will say that. It's definitely not terrible. Like, it's not like I couldn't live with it, but I find that like even when I go to just step on the gas, this car kind of like twitches a little bit, like it lurches forward a little too suddenly. But we'll take it on this road. We'll try out some of the acceleration here. All right, yeah, it is pretty good. This 4-cylinder, you know, you wouldn't expect a 4-cylinder and like a big car like this to actually take off pretty well. But, you know, this thing actually feels pretty peppy, surprisingly. It's really not bad. Like, you can actually like dust people like pretty easily. It has good amount of like low end torque to it. But there is one thing about this engine, and I just, you know, I just wish it was a little bit smoother. That's one fault with a lot of these turbo engines, is they're not quite as refined as a regular, you know, naturally aspirated engine. Some manufacturers do turbos pretty well. I like Mazda's turbo, for example, and I think Honda makes a good turbo. But this Ford turbo is just a little bit uneven in the power delivery. But yeah, brakes, very good. I'm probably feel like I'm like applying 25% brake and I'm slowing down pretty quickly. But yeah, there's always like a little like clunk when you go to step on it. It's not like I couldn't get used to it. It's not like a huge deal to me, but I think that is like something worth noting. You know, you buy these SUVs for like really smooth family transport, so it might be a little bit unsettling if like it's, you know, kind of lurchy or kind of clunky sometimes. I'd say otherwise though, this Explorer actually drives pretty well. It has like pretty assured handling for what it is. I said the same thing about the last generation Explorer. I thought that was a pretty good handling SUV for just like a mainstream, you know, family crossover. It was pretty good. This one is kind of the same story. I feel like this steering is pretty precise. Car kind of tracks exactly where I think it's gonna go. Nothing really feels like vague or loose about this car. It really kind of steers itself where you need it to go. It's predictable. It doesn't feel like it can't keep up with traffic. It feels like it can move and it can hustle like just fine. I really haven't had any issues with the overall handling or drivability of this car. Visibility is decent too. I actually think the visibility is a little bit better than the outgoing Ford Explorer from like a couple years ago. I feel like I can just see around me better. Like I have like a better sight lines overall. You do get like a pretty blocky front hood in front of you, but it's no big deal. Like it doesn't intrude on your visibility at all. I feel like these pillars are thinner than the last generation, and you get big mirrors and like a clear back window. Really like no complaints at all with visibility in here. Very smooth ride as well. This car just, it's not shaken at all by bumps or indents in the road. It just glides right over them really well. It does a good job. It's a good driving SUV. It doesn't feel like you're driving like a big truck or something like that. It feels just like a normal car, just raised up, basically. It's really feels like you're just driving a bigger Ford Escape, basically. Like that's really how this car feels, you know? If you're familiar with like Ford vehicles and how they drive, this is gonna feel very familiar. Like I can tell I'm driving a Ford. It's not something like worldly different from the outgoing model. If you're used to Ford vehicles, you'll feel right at home in this. Pretty quiet in here, not like a ton of road noise or anything. About average, I'd say. Not dead silent, but not super loud or anything either. Pretty refined cabin, honestly. Try seeing if we can get some speed here. And yeah, I mean, this Explorer like corners pretty well. Auto start stop, it's not like perfect. I'd say it's better than like other cars, but there's still just kind of a lag to it that I don't like. I usually just end up shutting it off every time. We will try our turning radius test right here. Just gonna go over it again, see how it is. All right, and very good, really can't complain. You know, this Explorer, it feels like, it doesn't feel heavy even, like for a big SUV. It really feels pretty light and pretty agile for what it is. Just gonna try a little cornering test right here. And yeah, it like actually does pretty well, as I said. It's not like a natural born corner carver, but you can drive it like a normal car pretty much, and it's fine. I do think this 10-speed, it is pretty intuitive in how it shifts. Like, it seems to kick down pretty well. Seems to listen to what you want it to do usually. It's just the shift quality could be a little bit better, I think. Yeah, it gets around pretty good. And you know, it is smooth when you learn how to kind of finesse the throttle a little bit. You can drive this car pretty smoothly when you want to. But we're gonna take it on the highway here. Good cornering, honestly, like not bad at all. All right, there's 80. Pretty quick. Like, I'm actually kind of impressed by it. Pretty responsive. Try some passing power right here. Yeah, it's like actually kind of nimble for a big SUV. Some wind noise coming in on the highway, but not too bad. But we'll take this exit here. Brakes slow you down nicely. We can do a little brake check here. All right. Very quickly engaging brakes. Try out sport mode, actually. I haven't really seen what that's like. All right. Definitely more responsive. It feels like it gets a little louder, too. Alright, yeah, and this thing like actually scoots pretty well. It can go like 80, 85, no problem. So, yeah, not bad, not bad. This transmission is like lightning quick in sport mode. I actually like it. So, you know, the little like the little trade-offs with this Explorer, like the kind of like clunky transmission, I think the good outweighs the bad here. Like this is actually a good driving SUV, despite some little quirks here and there. We'll try this off-ramp and see how it handles. All right, it's going pretty good here. There is some body lean. I don't want to push it super hard, but you know, the steering feels firm and confident, and honestly, it's not bad. It's not bad. It really wants to just take off in sport mode. Like, it's actually pretty jumpy. Yeah, I mean, I could daily drive this car, no problem. Alright, you guys, well, I think I'll end the video here. Pretty sure I talked about everything with this 2022 Explorer. Yeah, pretty maneuverable, easy to drive. Pretty zippy for an SUV. Does have some quirks to it, like that 10-speed transmission. A little bit clunky sometimes, like kind of twitchy, but not bad. Plentiful acceleration with this 4-cylinder. Pretty nimble, assured handling. A bit utilitarian in here, but you know, gets the job done. It's gonna transport your family just fine. It hits the mark for the right type of buyer for an SUV like this. But we're gonna hop out. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone.